So instead of trying to put such people down, as Malawians, let's support them. Let us encourage them. Where were you when these celebrities were putting out immorality out there? Why didn't you say something? This is the problem I have with these people. When negative things are happening, they're quiet. When a positive person says something they don't agree with, they're up in arms criticizing point blank. What are we trying to encourage?
Because when I was in Form 3, I was not doing very well. So my dad pushed me very hard. He was a disciplinarian. To the extent that I don't know changa Form 3 and was what pakumopano sa chokepo holiday onsene 3 months sina chokepo. Anaida na zinzanga ndwa bana. Ndasazabwere so pakumopa watu. Ndunduzo watu upeze mabuku. Nabita ku secondary kwatu St. Patrick's kwatenga mabuku nduwamba kuwerenga. So nachoka pa namba yoti sina kapita ku university muna solo kukonza. And I went into university. And then I finished my degree. Ntamaliza degree yanga ija, what I did was I started working. Luckily enough, nakwira company yone na wati imapireka ngongole kwa antu. So when ntangu yamba nchito, 10 months into the job, I managed to buy a house in Area 18 on mortgage, staff mortgage. And later on, because nali ndintsika na mene ni mamwembe because ndinkwata kuma napeza wa first year yaro. Then man digirira. Then man ora ningo digirira. Ningo banga jani ndipange study. I started chartered management accounting. So when I was around 27, 28, napeza ndabanga qualified in a chartered accountant. Then my chartered accountant analoje. Immediately I was promoted into a managerial position. So when I was around 30, I already had 2 houses.
Wow.
I bought another one in Area 47. So, luckily enough, a year later, I moved into the head office of New Building Society, moved into Blantyre, and I bought another house.
Wow.
A 5-bedroom house. It was in Nyambadwe.
Still at 30 years old?
I was now 32 years old.
Wow.
So you can actually see he's being very honest with his story. The first statement that caught my attention was that I think he started by saying it was all by grace. Could he not? I think he so much. I think one of the most fascinating things as he's telling his story of how he ended up becoming a successful person is how he starts by saying it was all by the grace of God. And then he kept on talking about how some of these things, it was because he met opportunities along the way and he took them. Okay, how many people nowadays can actually say that at 27 they own 2 and maybe they own a house and they're already a chartered accountant and all those things? There are very few people, and he was already in managerial position by 27. This is a story that is unique because he made some good breaks, some opportunities, and he's not being deceptive about that. He's actually being very honest to say, for me, it was the grace of God. And so I think he's being very honest with his story. And we've seen so many people criticizing him because of this interview that he has done. But I think I'm going to respond to it at the end. I think this is so unjust and unfair. And I feel like it's not a very wise thing that people are doing in criticizing him for this. But I'm going to say my reasons why towards the end. So stick around. Let's continue.
Mene mwana watamabadwa anabadwa mu 5-bedroom house. And many more ndinayo kale benefit yota koza omulipira school ku Phoenix or St. Andrews. So I rose very quickly time eneyo. Then I did my MBA painendeka because the bank said, the building society said sitinga kuipoto wangu kumaliza kumene ukadali wangu. I think amandona ndi kufulumira kwambiri. Then napanga MBA chani mapita ndeka pa basi linking Africa kupita South Africa nakonza. But nitakonza MBA cha the institution didn't recognize it.
Yeah.
Then because I had several houses now, the inflation imagwera kwambiri kwa nyumba zimene ndimatengazo timatenga pa interest rates are 5%. Pamene inflation ina ima 40, 50. So what happened was that nyumba zani magula zija ngati naigula chaka chino ntamene ina 132,000 ndoti mapezi kuti afika 500,000. Kina kwa afika 1 million. Kana gula ina kina gula kunyamba 700 inapezi kuti afika yafika 1.5 million. Imene nagula kunyamba nagula about 1.5 million inapeza kuti yafika nagula 5 million inapeza kuti yafika ma 12 million. Then immediately nakumanizana ni mwayi nthawi zina kuchita bwino mokhala kuti wakumanizana ni mwayi nanapezeka kuti
that statement right there, he recognizes that sometimes it's because opportunities have come your way. Do you know that not everyone can end up having his results, even if they had a similar startup and upbringing, whether they came from the same family. They come from rich families and they end up becoming vagabonds. Are you hearing what I'm saying? And so when you hear his story, I think we should be able to take lessons from it. I think the biggest lesson for me is to see how he was a risk taker, how he was able to recognize opportunities and seize them. Because I can tell you that during his time, people were not really finding it very hard to find employment as long as they had graduated from college. There would be so many opportunities that they would find. And so you can appreciate the fact that he was able to see opportunities and seize them, even leveraging loans to actually do that. And so you can see some of us have fathers and dads who grew up during his time and they never ended up becoming like him, even though they also had a good footing and they had a degree. The reason is because sometimes it has to do with mentality. It has to do with how you are looking at opportunities and how you are able to risk, how you are able to take a step. Okay, you can have all the foundation in the world, but decisions remain up to you. You understand? And so I appreciate him being this honest with it. Let's continue.
Makampani ambiri nthawi ya Dr. Bakiri Mulusa amapanga privatize. Kuti government isamakhala mu business yomapanga run ma business. Then azinzanga ena amene ameza nawo school anapeza kuti anandiuza kuti ase pali maloni awawa. Ukhoza mapanga access ugula makampani awawa ma share awa. Ndimene nayambira. And I started buying shares, I think when I was 35, with my wife, we made, that time it was about 7 million kwacha. Titagulitsa ma share FNB. That amount I think now is probably around maybe $200,000. And we did it in a week. And that money nabwereka so kwefe FNB ufama bwegesa kutugule ma share awo. Then nabwereka. And we made about 7 million. Ndama mene yo nagatogula nyumba na mwawedi panopo nagatogulitsa mina make 700 million panopo. So nakumanizana ntimwa mene dodo mpaka napenda nazipanga mess up when I did business. So kupanga zandramas namba pakali kwa.
So you can see he's also being honest. No, he didn't go into details probably about the mistakes that he made, but probably in the whole interview he did at some point. But what you're seeing is that he's actually saying that he was actually taking risk, using loans. And then at the end of the day, also he messed up because he was taking some steps and making some financial decisions. And so I just love how he's being honest with it. Let's continue with this.
Kumano kuti chimene maitika nchonena kuti mai munomo muli anthu ambiri amapanga ndrama koma think samapanga share. Nde simungadziwe ali ambiri kwambiri amapanga ndrama zamazipanga ndi phali nazo zambiri koma samapanga share fwa chamwina kacha ya kuti anthu amabisa zinthu zimene ali nazo. But then I decided to step out and say, you know what, I'll be sharing what I'm doing. So my share unamba kugula kale 23 years ago. I remember nthawi imene timagula ma share ngati ena itiyo panoeka pacha timagula 2 kwacha. NBS timagula 2 kwacha. National Bank timagula ma 10 kwacha. Panopo ma share amene ndi ma 12,000 chakuti. So nakumalizana ndi mwayi kati nabadwa nsanga kanata koma we took a risk that time because people were not keen to buy those shares. And later on you'll be surprised we borrowed money to buy even more shares. There were some shares. I'll give an example, a practical example. An institution was being forced to sell. They couldn't hold 2 banks. So they were being forced to sell some of the shares in one of the banks. And what chimene nabanga neyo nape mpakuti ine ndrama ndilibe kuma bonus yanga ndipanga commit ndizakupatsani salary yanga azindidula ineyo mundipatse maloni anatipatsa block 1% ya company imeneyo tinagula. We didn't pay a single penny. And that was like maybe 30 million shares. Mashare mene onagula 12 kwacha 50. Those shares are now in thousands. So nazipeza because we're taking risks. Because antena amatokupeza mwamene amakanika. But the other thing is that nali muntu okakamira. If I remember mashare amene nkafuna ntagula 100 million. Kumana ndikaniza na kuti ampweteka muntu. If my share price itati yagwa, muntu uyu ndeuti he has no fallback. Then timpatse pang'ono. Ndana ndipatsako pang'ono. Pang'ono pake being about 30 million shares. And that 30 million shares is a lot of shares now. And I've continuously borrowed. Ine sinima upangongole. Ngati pali munthu amene amapanga kadziwotche ndineyo, but I do take calculated risks because I'm a chartered accountant, a chartered banker, and I do understand finance. Then matakuona ma projections are institution ija, and I take a position.
Now, you can actually see what he's saying. From his educational background, it gave him leverage. It gave him maybe a standing that gave him, maybe it made him stand out amongst so many people who were also having the same opportunities during his time. Probably you'll see what he was saying. They actually were exposed to the same opportunities, but they did nothing with them. It was because he took calculated risks. He was educated in this area. He has finance degrees, MBAs, and he's a chartered accountant. And because of that, he's able to understand how markets work. He's able to understand how companies work. And then he takes opportunities. And that's how he has grown over the years. And so this knowledge, he has actually taken his time to share with young people now because he wants young people to also make it. I'm telling you, the economy is not good. And he's doing his part to serve Malawi and Malawian youth. And so come this backlash that has happened where people have started talking negatively about him because maybe he tried to show himself as someone who had some hardship in his upbringing. Maybe he also faced some negative circumstances. And people are saying, you can't tell us you came from a negative background and ended up like this. You are simply a typical motivational speaker. You are simply trying to establish relatability with us when you have nothing in common with us. You came from privilege. That's what people are telling him. They're saying this is someone simply exaggerating what they went through. What I'm telling you is I've listened to so many parts of this interview, and I can tell you that so many things that people are saying he exaggerated, or maybe he was just trying to embellish. All of that, I think, is not important. It's not necessary. There are some people that I can actually agree that they are motivational speakers in Malawi, and these people are simply trying to take advantage of people. They say I started from a struggling background when they actually they had privilege. Their dads were already millionaires, and they just gave them a platform, and then they just launched from there. But this is not his story. His story is clear. He had to make some calculated decisions. Yes, he had opportunities. He actually admits it. He found opportunities and he took them. Okay, he found opportunities and he took them. And I'm telling you, every century, every decade comes with its own opportunities. There are things that come actually in our time right now. There are opportunities that other people are leveraging that you don't know about. And so 10 years, 20 years from today, that person will be ahead of you. And then you should be wondering, this person is just exaggerating things. No, he actually took calculated risks to get to where he got. And you stayed on your behind and you did nothing. And so this man actually did all these things. And he's actually turning around and saying, I'm going to share what I know. He actually shares what he knows. He's a billionaire in Malawi. And then someone says, he's trying to just leverage his story. He's just trying to exaggerate his circumstances. All those things that you just say that he grew up from privilege, all of those things. It doesn't really matter. I think the focus should be what kind of message is he putting out there? How much of a net positive is he to Malawi right now, to the young people right now? I can tell you he's a very big positive to this young generation. He has helped so many young people begin to make some millions when they didn't know what to do with their money. He has encouraged a culture of investment. I can tell you almost everyone who is talking about investment in Malawi right now, most of them will tell you they have brushed shoulders with this content. And this content has really helped them to actually know what to do with their money, how to actually put it away so that it can grow and make more money. He's doing a lot. And so instead of putting people like him down, you can talk about motivational speakers who have no footing, who have no grounding, who become millionaires by simply working for big organizations. But this person leveraged opportunities. He invested his money. And so this is where he is. He doesn't talk about things that he doesn't know. He talks about things that he's actually doing. And so that's why he stands out from everyone else. So instead of trying to put such people down, as Malawians, let's support them. Let us encourage them. Okay. He may exaggerate some things. It doesn't really matter. Imagine listening to that whole interview and the things you take away are that, no, he's lying about his background, or maybe he's exaggerating. Maybe he's just trying to show us that he's related to us. Come on, man. Come on, man. We can do better. Instead of getting that from the interview, get the positive stuff. Understand what he's saying. Understand the motivation that he's putting out. So many people are getting helped. And there you are, trying to get points to criticize. I'm like, there are actually some people that when these celebrities were really releasing their nudity, they said nothing. But this person who is bringing positivity to Malawi says something. And then they're up in arms, criticizing. Where were you when these celebrities were putting out immorality out there? Why didn't you say something? This is the problem I have with these people. When negative things are happening, they're quiet. When a positive person says something they don't agree with, they're up in arms criticizing point blank. What are we trying to encourage? This guy is a net positive for our nation. Let us encourage him. Let us encourage him. We can't put him down. I love his content. You have heard part of his story right now. You can even watch the whole interview on Face to Face podcast right here on YouTube. And you can benefit a lot. But we can do better. We can do better. This is one of our heroes. Let's celebrate him. Let's not put him down. He's doing some positive stuff in the nation. Some will be like, he's just trying to take advantage of people. Come on, he's already a billionaire. Yes, he wants to make more money, but he's a billionaire. What can you give him? Come on, man. We can do better. Anyways, that's what I had for you. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel and make sure you like the video. Until next time, have a good one.